Hello everyone, Dani here, and today I'm going to show you how to use my reselling spreadsheet. This is available in my community under business resources. So the first thing you want to do is you want to actually make a copy of this document because you will have a view only version, so you will not be able to type in it. So you want to hit file and then you want to hit make a copy. And you can name it whatever you want. Mine's just going to be copy of Dani's reselling spreadsheet. Now, once this copy loads, you will actually be able to type and edit within this platform and be able to start keeping track of all of your sales. So, this is in Google Drive, which means everything will save automatically as you enter, so you don't have to worry about forgetting to save. The first thing you want to do is go ahead and enter all of your inventory. As you can see on the left-hand side, I have a drop down of all my different platforms. Now for inventory, this doesn't matter as much if you sell on many platforms, what you select here. This is because you're not sure what platform your item is going to sell on yet. So I always just pick Poshmark because most of my sales are on Poshmark and it's the first one there. Then you just do a quick description of the item. I'll put Lady and the Tramp Vintage Tee. I just sold that. Put your cost of goods. Mine was $2.11. The date listed, let's say it was 4/2-24. It's really important to put all of this in when you are actually buying the items or as close to it so you can get accurate dates there. When you do this, you are going to see an error here, and that is because you don't have a profit margin yet because you aren't sure how much you actually sold the item for. So your entire screen should look like this. Now go ahead and you would fill in all of your inventory and then you can start actually tracking your sales. Before we go in and track sales though, I want to show you how to use this earning sheet. Now this is cool because it helps you keep track of not only your profit, your earnings, your sales, but also your inventory. So the first thing you're going to want to do is put in your beginning inventory. So how many items do you currently have in your inventory at this time? Now, if you're not starting in January, you can start this with whatever month you're starting in. For example, it is April now when I'm recording this, so I'm going to start in April. And just to make things simple, I'm going to say I have 10 items in my beginning inventory. Now, I don't know my ending inventory yet because it's not the end of the month. So in that ending inventory, you're going to put what you ended with at the end of April. My total items listed, let's say of that 10, I listed 5 items. So I listed 5 items this month so far, and this is an item you're going to constantly update as you list more and more items. Then for my total items sold, we're going to say I sold 1 item so far. Now, again, this is going to change as you are going to keep making sales. And then this total sales from listed and total sales from beginning inventory, you can do at the end of the month, or you can do what I do and track them as you go. So I've only made 1 sale. So let's say that thing I sold was from beginning inventory. It wasn't one of the 5 things that I originally listed. Now, as you fill these numbers in, you will see that your standard sell-through rate, your average sell-through rate, and your average sell-through rate of listed is going to populate. This helps you keep track of what you are selling that is things that you're newly listed and what you're selling of old inventory. Really good to look back on so that you can kind of track this month per month and see, okay, let's say that January you have a really high percentage of things that are selling from items that you just bought that month, things that were newly listed. Then you want to look back at January, see what you were buying, and try to replicate that again to continue making really good sales. Now, for this part, it will automatically populate as you enter your sales for each month. So I'm going to show you how to do that now. I'm going to go back over to inventory, and let's say I just sold this Lady in the Tramp Vintage Tee. I'm going to click on this number 2 right here, or whatever number is next to the item that's sold. I'm going to then either right click or double click depending on what type of computer you're using and hit copy. After I copy that, I'm going to go to the month it's sold in. We're going to say it sold in April. I'm going to click that number 2 again. I'm going to right click or double click depending on what your computer is, and I'm going to hit paste. So that will paste all of that information of the sold item into the month in which it's sold. Then I'm going to enter the sold date. Let's say it sold today, which is 4/12-24. And that will automatically populate your days listed. So it'll show you exactly how many days that item has been listed until it was sold. I'm going to say it sold for $25. And then for shipping and deposit fee, it's really going to matter what platform you're using / if you have a cost there. Now, if there was no shipping cost, that means that it was completely covered in the buyer's original transaction. You can leave this blank. If you give a shipping discount within Poshmark, you will enter the discount you gave here. So let's say I gave a shipping discount and this sold in Poshmark, I would go 2.02. That is the lowest shipping discount you can give, and that will update my totals. Additionally, I have deposit fee here. So now let's say that you want this money immediately. So within Poshmark, you're going to pay a little bit of an extra fee in order to get this immediately sent to you via Venmo or any kind of instant pay. This is also something that happens now in Mercari because they have transaction fees whenever you take money out, and it can also happen in other platforms. So anytime you have a deposit fee, you will enter it here. Now, if you have a deposit fee that is going to be taken out of multiple items, how you can notate this is you can just do one of two things. You can either divide that deposit fee by the number of items that were sold. So let's say that I sold 3 things on Mercari, that would be too complicated. Let's say I sold 2 things on Mercari and then I cashed out, then I would put $1 deposit fee in for each item. Or if you want to make it really simple, which was I like to do, I would just put my deposit fee on one item because at the end of the day, it's just going to take it out of your overall profits and it will all work itself out in the end. So what this will do, it'll update your earnings, your gross, and your profit margin, which is really nice to have all of those stats, not only for keeping track of what's selling and what you should keep sourcing, but for tax purposes. My accountant loves my spreadsheet. I give it to him every year, and he is always very impressed with it and is happy that I have all of my things notated so that he can very easily do my taxes. Now, let's say this didn't sell on Poshmark. All you have to do is just pick from the drop-down menu what platform it sold on. So if it sold on Mercari, you just click Mercari, and it should update all of those stats. I also have a little tab for old Mercari because they did mention that things that were listed before they made the change would still have the old fees taken out. So I just have that option if you want to use that, or if you are entering anything retroactively, you can use that old Mercari tab and it will take out the old amount of fees that it used to take out. As for eBay, it's a little bit trickier, but not too much. So eBay has a different amount of fees taken out for almost every single different category they have. So I actually only have the exact fees calculated for clothing. So there's actually a different amount of fees taken out for clothing that is sold under $150 and clothing that is sold over $150. I believe this also includes shoes, accessories, so anything you really wear. So all you have to do is if your sale was under $150, you would hit under $150. This one was because it was $25. And if it was over $150, you can hit the over $150. And again, it'll just recalculate all of that based on the sale on that platform. Now, I want you to definitely pay attention if you sell hard goods on eBay. I do not have that all built in, so you would have to manually put in your earnings and your gross earnings, but it will add all of that back onto your earnings sheet and it will calculate all of that into your profit margins and such. For platforms like Vinted, Facebook Marketplace, Etsy, Grail, Jamble, and Depop, it will not actually calculate your earnings or your gross for you. You will have to do that by yourself. This is because those are platforms I don't really use regularly and I'm not fully aware of how their fee structures work. So I'm going to let you all fill that in yourself if you make sales on there. What you can do is you just click that platform and then you can enter in your earnings and your gross. Let's say I earned $10 on this $25 sale and then my gross was like, I don't know, let's say $6. I'm just making up numbers at this point. It'll still calculate your profit margin and it'll add it to the earnings page. So you do not have to worry about that. And I wanted to make sure that I still had those platforms as options so you can notate that in the spreadsheet, no problem. And again, it'll add it all to your earnings. You just have to actually look at your sale and calculate what your earnings and your gross are yourself for it to kind of input that. So what I'm talking about there is this earnings sheet. So as you can see, now that I put in my first sale, it has all of my stats for April there. So I only have that one item there, so it's just going to show the stats for that one item that I made a $25 sale. My earnings were $17.67. That's what I actually am given to from the platform, but my actual profit is $15.56 because that takes into account my cost of goods and any other fees. Now, when you continue to add more items to your sales for the month, that will continue to grow and it will continue to keep track of all of that. As you can see, it has also updated the different sales margins and average cost of goods, all of that for the month as well. So you can really compare month by month how you're doing and how you're growing. Now, let's just say the end of the month came around and let's just say we had a very sad month. And let's say my ending inventory was 9 because I sold my one item and I had 0 items from listed. So again, what that will do is just will update all of my stats and my percentages for that month, and I would move on to May. And as you can see, my ending inventory in April was 9, so my beginning inventory in May would be 9. And so on and so forth. Now, I also have some extra features within this spreadsheet, and that is a place for you to document your mileage. Remember that all of your driving for your business counts for tax deduction purposes, but you have to track it. So you can use an app to do this. I like to keep it all together in my spreadsheet. So I use an app, but then I transfer all that information into my spreadsheet here to keep it together and easy for my accountant to access. So I usually just put the date, the purpose. For example, anytime you go to the post office, anytime you go thrifting, anytime you drive to your accountant for a meeting, any of that all counts as mileage towards your tax deduction for your business. You can also even do, if you go to the local grocery store to get like packing tape or packaging supplies, anytime you leave your house for business purpose, it counts. Same thing here, I have expenses, so anything you spend on for your business outside of your cost of goods and your shipping costs. So what I put in here is my cost for packing tape, for packages, for anything that is associated with my business, I put here. Like I bought a steamer last year for my business, I put it here. So this is a great way to keep track of all of that, and honestly, it serves 2 really big purposes. The first purpose is to, 1, keep track of your profit and earnings for tax season, and second, to really look at your trends, your profit margins, to make sure that your business is actually being profitable and looking at those trends so that you can continue to make more and more money. So one other little quirk that I want to point out before we leave is if you do find that for some reason within your monthly spreadsheet it is not calculating the prices of something, just go ahead and go to earnings and make sure you just pull down the formula. I mean, this has happened to me before many times and I thought my spreadsheet was broken, and no, you just need to pull down the formula. It will happen sometimes, sheets can be a little wonky. If it's not calculating, pull down that formula. Anyway, guys, I hope you found this video super helpful. If you're still confused and need help, I don't want you to worry because I do have one-on-one coaching sessions that you can access. Be sure to schedule with me over in the calendar link. It's pinned, I believe, to the discussion post. I would love to sit down and chat with you and go over how to set up your spreadsheet, look over your spreadsheet, whatever you need.